tens of millions of people experienced blackouts across Spain and Portugal. And at the worst point of the blackout, the entire Iberian Peninsula power generation fell to zero.
That is a huge issue to have just happen out of nowhere. I don't know the details on it, but I have a hard time believing that this was not foreseen in some way.
I'm going to throw this up on the screen. I feel like this is a little crazy. So Doug brought this up about CERN. We might have just figured it out. Why Spain and Portugal fell into the blackout.
Breaking news.
Well, welcome to Filibusted. We got a lot to get into today. But first, let's talk about what's happening over in Europe. So we had tens of millions of people experience blackouts across Spain and Portugal, and it disrupted transportation, communication systems. It was this happened on April 28th and lasted 18 hours. It disrupted daily life for all these people, businesses, hospitals, critical infrastructure, all across Spain and Portugal. And at the worst point of the blackout, the entire Iberian Peninsula power generation fell to zero. And so that means two whole European countries had no energy being supplied to their national grids whatsoever for the best part of a day. And over 150,000 had to be rescued from underground trains, trapped in tunnels. We had elevators, hospitals, all without water, and public unable to buy food unless they had cash on hand, and telephones, internet, all disrupted. So this is quite a situation. And so my question to you guys to kick this off is, are these blackouts a flaw in this system, or is that part of the design of this system? What do you guys think on here?
I think systems are a little bit too complex to not anticipate things like that, but I also don't ever believe in coincidences. Like, that is a huge issue to have just happen out of nowhere, or people in that much of a position of power and control over the energy grid to be like, oh, we didn't see that coming, you know. I don't know the details on it, but I have a hard time believing that it's that this was not foreseen in some way.
One of the things that stood out to me was, like, they're saying that this is the first mass electrical outage on a grid largely powered by wind and solar energy. Now, they say largely powered. I don't know what percentage that is. It's probably lower than you would assume when they say largely powered. Ryan, you may have more details on that. But it's interesting that at least up to a few days ago, they still didn't know what caused it. And I'm like, man, that's crazy to me. A couple months back, there was a monkey that got into a power station in Sri Lanka and shut down the entire country's power for, I think, about 6 hours itself. I'm guessing the monkey didn't survive, you know, but it's like they're like, well, it was a monkey, right? They knew what caused it, and they could see where the outage happened and what, you know, and it's like, in this case, I'm like, what's going on when they say they don't know what's causing this?
You know what that reminds me of? The squirrel that got into CERN and chewed up the wires and shut down an entire massive project like CERN.
A squirrel single-handedly causes a massive black hole portal to appear in the sky.
Really? Is that the story we're going with? Yeah.
Yeah.
CERN has had all kinds of problems with animals.
I thought it was a weasel. I'm pretty sure it was a
weasel. Yeah, I knew it was some little critter and something like that. I can't remember exactly what.
Birds.
So I'll find the exact stat, but I think it's over 60% of the power. I mean, that for these specific things for these outages. And one of the things that really, when it comes to this, the criticisms of this is that the so-called green energy methods don't have inertia and they don't have redundancy. And so what does that mean? So it's traditional power networks like coal and gas and hydroelectric, they're insulated against shock, which is what happened here, because there's this big spinning metal part of these turbines and these generators inside these power stations. And so if the power goes out, the momentum that has spinning keeps it going, and that continues to generate electricity, so that when the power gets reconnected, then it just sort of picks up where it's going, and there's no actual break in electricity because of that momentum. And so solar power, you have no moving parts like these. There's nothing to have that inertia. So I want to talk about government weather control and the history of that here, and kind of this arms race around the world for that. But Doug, did you have something you wanted to bring us back to?
So one of the points that I wanted to make that I think is just a fun little side note that does, of course, dip into some conspiracy theory that I think you guys will all really appreciate is that the CERN Hadron Collider is in its third run right now. They did a test for the Alice 3 program, is what they call it, on the day that the blackouts happened.
Like CERN did?
Yes. It's at least that is on their schedule. I'm looking literally at their website,
They're like, we don't know why the blackouts happened. We're just using all the energy to charge portals to hell.
Yeah, that's
so it's like a low. They're saying that it's like a low energy test, just to kind of see what's going on. But it happened to start that exact test on that day.
What?
So, yeah, I am
really curious to see what the official narrative reason for why these blackouts occurred is going to be once that initially comes out.
Well,
I know you'll have the official reason, and then you'll probably have some more underground conspiratorial.
Probably that investigation will go on until some other big thing happens, and nobody will talk about this again.
And then in 10 years,
like that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that was a seagull that
will back in 10 years. They'll say, yeah, that was back when these things were rare, but actually, they're happening all the time.
Could be the case.
Should solve that one.
I'm gonna throw this up on the screen. I feel like this is a little crazy. Okay. So Doug brought this up about CERN, right? We're talking about why did Spain? We might have just figured it out. Why Spain and Portugal into the black
breaking news.
So right here, you've got this is CERN up here. So if you actually look at, I think it's a 25-mile diameter, the actual hadron collider that's under the ground here, and it's between France and this is where it's at in France and Switzerland. Is that right? Between the two of them. Anyways, so here's Spain down here, right? Here's Portugal. Okay. Check this out. Why did the blackouts happen? Okay. The sudden blackout in Spain and Portugal happened when the Iberian grid experienced a significant power imbalance, which triggered a self-defense shutdown. So there's a significant power imbalance the same day that CERN did this test that Doug was talking about.
So it doesn't fry the system. Yeah, it's like a breaker for your house.
Another AP News says Spain and Portugal are connected to Europe's main electric grid through France. So Spain's grid operator on Tuesday said that the sudden drop in power caused an interconnector between Spain and France to trip.
Huh.
I just saying, like, I feel like it's pointing to something, the power imbalance, like what caused the power imbalance in France, potentially the CERN test. I'm just saying.
That's good stuff.
Some nice investigative journalism there.
Collider too, so I don't know what they're doing with that. They're building an even bigger one. I don't know where it is, though.
They are building a bigger one, which is like, what? It's not big enough, like.
Right. So the existing one is 17 miles approximately and 27 kilometers. So that's
27 kilometers. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a note. We talked so much about CERN right now. I forgot you guys did a whole video on CERN like a year or two ago. So I think we should put that in the comments so people can go watch if they want to. Y'all did a lengthy video all about CERN.
You guys, we're giving a lot of homework on this episode.
If anyone's interested, we'll drop that one for later.
I like it though. Give the homework and stay up to date. Okay, should we jump into this government weather manipulation? This sounds just absolute crazy. Like I just think manipulating the weather. That sounds good. Yeah, go back to your basement and your tinfoil hat. Well, actually, let's go ahead and dive in here.